everybody, hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the much anticipated birth story. A lot of you guys had asked because you guys know that I had my baby September 21st, yay. So Silas is officially here, but a lot of you guys wanted to know how he got here. And I didn't want to leave anybody in the dark, so I figured I would just post my birth story on my channel, and then you can watch it and hear about how Silas made his way into the world. So if you want to know about how my birth went, keep watching. Okay, so as a lot of you guys probably remember, like the day before I went into labor, I had posted on my Instagram that I was 40 weeks and I think 4 days and I was overdue and I was miserable. And that was definitely the case, and I was just trying to be patient, but I didn't know when I was going to go into labor, and all of the home remedies that I kept trying just were not working. Nothing was working. I could not get my body to go into labor, which simply told me that my body wasn't ready to go into labor. So after I gave up, and even like the medical thing that they can do to get you into labor didn't work, I was just like, whatever, he'll come whenever he's ready. So I pretty much gave up the dream that I would, one of my home remedies would work, but I did go swimming the day that my water broke, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but we came home from swimming at my in-laws' house. We'd been there all day, and then I had just kind of felt like crampy, but not like contractions. And I kept thinking every time I had like my Braxton Hicks and they would intensify, I honestly thought that I was going into labor, but my midwives kept saying, no, when you go into labor, you will know. And you know what? That was true. When I went into labor, I totally was like, oh, this is what it feels like. Okay. So that night, I kind of thought that I was having Braxton Hicks for an hour straight. So I called my husband upstairs and I asked him to time them for me. And I was able to talk through them, but I took a shower. I kind of packed my bag. I just kind of felt like we should call the midwife, you know? And my husband was like, well, you're talking and you're able to talk, which I don't think this means this is it. So I was like, whatever. So I sent him back downstairs and I just kind of timed them myself. And then they kind of faded away, the contractions. So I was like, whatever. And then around like 11:45, my daughter, Stella, who never does this anymore, she came in my room and was like, I want to sleep with you. And I was like, okay. So I put her in bed with me, and then I laid down, I turned off the TV, I turned off the light, and I was going to go to bed. And to me, I felt like this really long, strong, sharp contraction, like long and sharp, like that, like nails on a chalkboard, strong. And I sat up, and my daughter was like, Mom, what's wrong? And I said, I think I need to go to the bathroom. So I sat up, and right then, my water broke. Which is cool because we had never known like when to go to the hospital. We had so many false alarms, and with your water breaking, you're like, hell yeah, I can just go in. I have to go into labor now. So I got up, I went to the bathroom, and it was just like full on water broke. So I run downstairs, my husband's on the sofa. I woke him up, and I was like, babe, my water broke. And he was so excited. He said the same thing. He's like, yes, that's what we were waiting for. I'll call my mom. So called my mother-in-law, and instantly my contractions were literally like 3 to 4 minutes apart. And I was like, oh, we gotta go. So my mother-in-law gets to my house, and I instantly put on my headphones and I start listening to my Hypno Babies. Hypno Babies was great on the drive, and there's so many songs, or not songs, but like tracks that you can listen to that will get you through your labor. And the idea is that you listen to it pretty much throughout your labor. But I didn't do that. I listened to it when I felt like I was going to need it the most, which was the drive to the hospital, because we live an hour away from the hospital. And when I felt the contractions, yes, they were the kind that you can't even talk, you can't even move really. But with the hypnosis, I was able to kind of zone out. So I listened to my hypnosis in the car, and the idea is, the track that I listened to was called Easy First Stage. Aww. So we get in the car, and I put my headphones in, and basically what I'm listening to is, you're excited to meet your baby with every surge. You feel warm, and you enjoy the surge. You know, it's getting you further and closer to your cervix opening, blah, blah, blah. So I kept my eyes closed. most of the drive. I opened my eyes like 3 times, I think, and that was just to see where we were. But if I didn't have the hypnosis, I'm pretty sure I would have lost my mind. I would have freaked out being in the confined space and feeling the pain. Not the pain, the surges were strong and they were close, like bop, bop, bop. They were just happening. So I did my hypnosis, and then 45 minutes, 50 minutes later, we get to the hospital, get out of the car, and my pants are soaked. My water is completely broken, like not a leak, Titanic. So we get through the hospital, and my husband's pushing me in a wheelchair through the hospital. It's probably like 1:30 now-ish. And we get up to the birthing floor. Remember, I'm giving birth naturally, so I went to the birthing center floor. And they knew I was coming. They put me in the birthing suite. I change, I put on like the nursing bra I plan to wear, and my husband's putting bags down. They're asking me some admission questions, and I lay down on the bed. And one of the nurses kneels down to take my vitals. And right as she knelt down, I look at her and I said, "No, wait, I need to go to the bathroom, I think." You know what that means. The nurse looks at me and she's like, "Nope, you don't need to go to the bathroom. That's your baby's head." And I was like, "What?" And then I said, "No, please don't check me. I think I need to go to the bathroom." Yeah. So she looks at my midwife and she says, she's in transition. She's feeling like she needs to push. And my midwife was like, "Okay, well, let's check her." So they check me. I was 8 centimeters. Yeah. That is why it was important to get there as quickly as possible. So it was very calm. The birthing center is a very like, let your body do the talking. You know, we're all just gonna hang out and wait for this baby. So I wasn't hooked up to anything. No IV, no monitor on my belly. It was me and my three ladies and my husband on a bed. And I instantly felt the urge to push. So they let me push, and I started pushing. And what does it feel like? It feels like you're taking a really big dump. That's as best as I can describe it. You're not in like a physical pain, but it is so intense that you don't even know where the moaning and the groaning is coming from. It's literally from your gut. Your body kind of takes over and just curls around your baby and pushes the baby out. But then when the contraction's over and you've got 30 seconds or whatever, you can say, "Hey, can I have a sip of water? Hey, can I have my hair tie? Can you do this a little bit harder on my back, please?" And then you'll be like, "Okay, here comes another one." And then it's just primal all over again. There were a few times where I would look at one of my nurses, and I just kind of attached to her as like my point person to take care of me. And I would just look at her, and she would look at me and say, "I know, it's intense." It is intense. It's very, just something you've never experienced before. You feel your baby moving down, which I thought was pretty cool. But you know, it was natural childbirth, and then you get to the point where you're at the ring of fire. And I would say it's not like that dramatic, but you do know when your baby's head is right there. And it's kind of fire. I wouldn't say like flames of like towering inferno, but you do feel that pressure right there when your baby's head is coming out. And I felt that, and then all of a sudden, right as like I'm pushing with all my might, and I'm kind of like laying on my side, and they're like holding my legs, they flipped me over onto all fours at the same time. Like, whoop, I was on my hands and knees, and they said, "Okay, Shavonda, we need you to get on your hands and knees. Your baby's shoulder is stuck." Yeah, it got real. I'm on my hands and knees, and they're like, "You need to push hard right now." And they called a code. I remember them saying like, "Call a code so-and-so, get the pediatric team up here." And one of my nurses gets like eye level with me, and she says, "I need you to push right now to get your baby out." And I said, "I'm trying to." And I could feel my midwife yanking on Silas, yanking on him, pulling really hard. And it was at that moment that I realized that all the gentle, warm washcloths down there, the warm, the massaging was going to be completely moot, because at that moment I realized I'm probably going to tear. And I did. So They're yanking, and it was like I was the center, my midwife was quarterback, Silas was the ball. And I looked between my legs, and bloop, quarterback, sacked. My midwife caught Silas. He came flying out. At that moment, I guess my husband, I don't remember this, but my husband said that like 7 people from the pediatric unit ran in. My midwife was like, I'm good, I got it. He cried immediately, he pinked up immediately, so they all left. And they flipped me back over and they put Silas on my chest, and he was fine, but his shoulder did get stuck. It's called shoulder dystocia. So he was a little big for my narrow pelvis, but with me being able to participate, it was really nice, because if I was in a hospital setting with an epidural, I probably would have been in a situation where I, A, couldn't have helped you because my legs would have been numb, and B, we're talking episiotomy where they just cut you wide open and they call it medically necessary. Whereas with me being in the birthing center, I was able to kind of move my body in a way that helped Silas make his way down. So that was nice, even though it was an emergency for 60 seconds. It was avoidable, or not avoidable, but we worked through it pretty quickly. So that was, Silas is born, everything's good, and then they threw him on my chest, and I nursed, and the rest was history, and it was a very calm environment. Everybody left, and they kind of just leave you alone. But again, nobody was hooked up to anything. They let the umbilical cord stop pulsing before they cut it. They saved my placenta because I was doing encapsulation, so they were very accommodating with that, and they put it on ice. And then next morning, the specialist came down, she drove down, picked up my placenta and took it back to her lab to encapsulate it. And we basically just hung out. Now, because I had him at 3 in the morning, from start to finish, my labor went from 12:10 a.m. to 3:16. So, and I dilated basically in our car on the drive down. Now, if you would have told me he was born 8 pounds, 12 ounces with shoulder dystocia, that's a big baby. If you would have told me he was going to be that big, I think I would have psyched myself out completely and probably not been confident enough to do it natural. But I didn't know until he was knocking at the door. So it worked out pretty good. And we just got to be chest to chest. They didn't even like measure him or weigh him till way later. Like they just kind of let you hang out and just lay in the bed. They clean you up. They change the sheets. They give you snacks and juice and stuff, but you're basically just lounging. So we just kind of hung out, and then you have to stay 24 hours. So we did stay one day, and me and Silas, it was really nice because we just kind of nursed and got to know each other a little bit. Sean came back home to take Stella to school and kind of spend some time with her. So then he came back the next morning and picked us up, and everyone was healthy and happy. So they were happy to let us go. And we went home, which is so different from our first experience with Stella because she spent 7 days in the NICU, unfortunately. So she was not able to come home with us for a week, and we were visiting her every day. This case, they just were like, peace and congratulations. So we took him home, and nursing is going really well. If you guys want to know more about my nursing journey, that can be another video if you're interested, but I did want to get this video out for you guys. A little bit about hypnobabies. I did study hypnobabies pretty intensely when I was pregnant. I really wanted to have that security for whatever I would encounter during my labor and delivery. I found that in the middle of me pushing, I was not interested in putting earphones in or changing a track on my phone or any of those things. Like that all went out the window. Even like getting in the tub was just not gonna happen. So I basically just gave birth in the bed, not how I imagined. I thought I'd be, have time for the bathtub. No, there was no time. But the hypnosis part of like the active labor, I didn't even think about it. I just wanted something that was gonna soothe me in the very beginning because I knew that I had a long drive ahead of me, and that did work. But the entire thing is kind of meant to be done as a whole. The affirmations I loved. I kind of need those kind of things. I'm a nervous personality, and I'm a catastrophic thinker. So the affirmations really did help me just kind of think positively about my pregnancy in the beginning, which is a whole new set of affirmations. And then my labor and delivery had a set of affirmations that I did, and those helped a lot too. But I only listened to like one track out of maybe the 7 or 8 that were meant for the stages of labor. And I only listened to one, and I only listened to half of that one because the other half of that easy first stage was about my cervix opening, and I didn't want my cervix to open too much via the suggestion if I was still in the car. So once it got to that point, I would start it over where it was like, welcome to the first stage of birthing, blah, 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 blah. I kind of stuck with that. So I got 2 turns of that in the car. But I would recommend it to anyone who's easily suggested or can be suggested easily, and who wants the natural birthing experience but doesn't want to be kind of out without a paddle. And I needed a plan B, which quickly became my plan A when I felt my first birthing surge or my first contraction. It was crazy. And I was like, I need my headphones right now. So I'm glad I had it. I don't know that I would have been as calm and quiet on the drive while I was basically dilating to full dilation if I didn't have it. So it's kind of hypnobirthing, hypnobabies, birthing without fear. Those things really did help me, even confidence-wise, because I felt like I had a backup plan. So if you guys have questions about that, let me know. But I do think hypnobabies was worth it. I just didn't use for what I needed it for, and I'm glad I had it. So I'll say that. If you guys have any other questions or comments or concerns, go ahead and leave them down below. Follow me on Twitter, I'm the Vonda83. Follow me on Instagram, I'm also the Vonda83. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for all the congratulations on my Instagram picture. We are very happy and settling in almost a month later now, finally finding our groove and a routine. And to all my fellow Prego mommies who are giving birth around this time, we had a good summer. We were all pregnant together, so thanks for the support. And I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.